Chapter 91. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Affected by the shock, the battlefield became a scene of utter devastation. The power of the shock fruit was overwhelming. Ninjas still reeling from the Overlord's haki were vaporized by the explosions. Those rock, mist, cloud, and sand ninjas likely never imagined they'd be wiped out before they even had a chance to fight back. This also showed why Whitebeard, at his peak in the pirate world, was called the strongest man, and his power was labeled as world-destroying by Sengoku. Now, with the sage's abilities enhancing him, Uchiha Ryunin wielded the shock fruit with almost no drawbacks, making him even more formidable. The air roared, the ground trembled in a constant quake as the power of the shocks raged. Finally, after 10 minutes, the battlefield began to settle. The air was no longer cracking, but the ground was scarred with massive fissures stretching as far as the eye could see. Countless ninjas from the sand, rock, mist, and cloud villages were gone. If it weren't for the overwhelming stench of blood, there'd be no trace they ever existed. The Konoha ninjas stared, stunned, at the spot where the army of the 4 villages had been. Inoki's eyes were glazed. Night Moon AI and Kurabi stood rigid. Motoshi and Yakura were dumbfounded. Raksha was frozen. No one had believed that Uchiha Ryunin possessed such terrifying power. Even those in Konoha who knew he could shatter the air hadn't expected him to use that power to obliterate the combined forces of the 4 major villages. Uchiha Fugaku, Hinata, Nara Shikaku, and the others finally understood why Uchiha Ryunin had said they would witness the power to destroy the world. Ah! Inoki, who had been suspended in the air, plummeted to the ground in terror. He didn't seem to feel the pain as he collapsed in despair. More than 10,000 IWA ninjas, the hidden strength of the rock village, all gone, wasted in Konoha, just to try and take the village down. The 3rd Tsuchikage's heart was bleeding. Impossible. Why is this happening? The 4th Raikage, Night Moon AI, was filled with horror and disbelief. Over 2,000 cloud ninjas, gone without accomplishing anything, wiped out by a single attack. He thought Konoha was at its weakest, but now it seemed they had a monster hidden within. This is insane. Motoshi and Yakura exchanged shocked glances, thinking only of the consequences. They'd brought over 2,000 mist ninjas, the village's last line of defense. The wrath of the Kiri shinobi families when they returned would be unbearable. It can't be. The 4th Kazekage, Raksha, lost his composure. The loss of so many sand shinobi was devastating. Konoha was supposed to be weak after the 3rd Hokage and the leadership were taken out. How could Uchiha Ryunin be so powerful? He's so strong. Ryunin is too strong. If Lord Ryunin can handle everything himself, he's the new god of the ninja world. The Konoha ninjas, including Kakashi, Might Guy, Kurenai, Uchiha Fugaku, Hinata, and others, were ecstatic. The thought of another ninja god in Konoha was thrilling. In the history of the ninja world, only one person held that title, the 1st Hokage, Hashirama Senju. As for the so-called strongest Hokage in history, Hiruzen Sarutobi, well, they all knew how that went. Now, they were witnessing the rise of a new ninja god in Uchiha Ryunin. Roar! A violent roar echoed as a crack opened, revealing a massive crimson chakra. A white, full-like monster emerged onto the battlefield. Elder Motoshi, I'm going all the way and fully transform. Sensing the 5 tails chakra, Yakura's eyes flashed with resolve. I was manipulated by genjutsu and did things against the mist village. Now, it's time to prove my worth. Good. Motoshi gripped his snake-headed staff and nodded grimly. A terrifying chakra permeated the air as Yakura transformed, cloaked in a tailed beast chakra, and then into a massive, thorn-covered 3-tailed turtle. Kurabi. Seeing the 5 tails and 3 tails Jinchuriki fully transforming, Night Moon AI took a deep breath and said coldly, go all out, fully transform, Kurabi. Unleash the full power of the 8 tails. Got it. The usual carefree expression was gone from Kurabi's face, replaced by coldness and murderous intent. Another wave of terrifying tailed beast chakra surged as huge octopus tentacles burst from Kurabi's body. A bull-headed octopus monster appeared on the battlefield. That's the 5 tails. The 3 tails is going all out too. 8 tails appeared. The battlefield erupted as the 5 tails, 3 tails, and 8 tails Jinchuriki unleashed their power. The Konoha ninjas watched in shock. Some, who had experienced the 9 tails attack years ago, were reminded of the fear of Konoha under the 9 tails' control. The 8 tails, 5 tails, and 3 tails might not be as powerful individually, but together, they could unleash an incredibly destructive force. Is that all they got? Uchiha Ryunin was unfazed, even amused. Chapter 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Can a tailed beast even kill people? Seeing the scene unfold, Uchiha Ryunin didn't even flinch. He almost laughed. 7 years ago, he could easily suppress the 9 tails. Now, the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails might put on a show of explosive chakra and heart-wrenching roars, but honestly, that was about it. Besides, were they forgetting who he was, standing before the kaleidoscope Sharingan? Roar! A furious tailed beast roar ripped through the air. Han, now in his complete tailed beast transformation, glared at Uchiha Ryunin, his massive maw slowly opening. In an instant, terrifying tailed beast chakra frantically condensed in his mouth, gradually forming a colossal black chakra ball. Uchiha Ryunin, you're toast. Elsewhere, Yagura, also in a complete tailed beast transformation, was constantly gathering chakra, creating a high-density black energy bomb in his mouth. You stupid bastard, you've killed so many of our cloud ninja. Kurabi, fully transformed as well, locked his savage gaze on Uchiha Ryunin, furiously amassing a violent tailed beast bomb in his mouth. Time to get down to business. Everyone, focus on taking down Uchiha Ryunin. We have to eliminate Uchiha Ryunin, otherwise, no one can guarantee he won't become the next Hashirama Senju or Uchiha Madara. Seeing the sheer volume of tailed beast chakra building in the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails, the 3rd Tsuchikage, Inoki, the 4th Reikage, the 4th Kazekage, Raza, and Elder Motoshi quickly braced for a fight. There was nothing left to discuss. The events had progressed to this point, and they now realized they had miscalculated. They had completely underestimated Uchiha Ryunin's frightening strength and strange abilities. To avoid total defeat, they had to bite the bullet and attack him together. Die. A few seconds later, Kurabi, still in his complete tailed beast form, took the initiative. But then, something utterly dumbfounding happened. Instead of attacking Uchiha Ryunin, Kurabi whirled around and blasted a tailed beast bomb at and it didn't stop there. Han, also in his complete tailed beast transformation, attacked Inoki. Yagura, now fully transformed, bizarrely turned on Motoshi. Kurabi, what the hell are you doing? Yagura, you've got the wrong target. Damn it, Han, what are you doing? The sudden reversal shocked everyone. Inoki, Raza, and Motoshi were stunned, seemingly unable to process what was happening. Weren't they all supposed to be ganging up on Uchiha Ryunin? Why were these 3 Jinchuriki attacking their own allies instead? Still, faced with the incoming tailed beast bombs, they didn't dare hesitate, each using their instantaneous techniques to narrowly dodge the blasts. Boom. 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 In the next instant, 3 deafening explosions echoed, the massive energy waves shaking the battlefield and sending out 3 violent shockwaves. How is this possible? How could the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails Jinchuriki attack their own comrades? This is crazy. Really crazy. The Konoha ninja army, witnessing this scene, looked absolutely stunned. They were totally confused by the battlefield's chaos. How could the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails possibly turn traitor? If you look closely at Lord Ryunin's eyes, the Tomo are obviously different. It must be that his Mangekyo Sharingan has evolved into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Uchiha Fugaku, appearing to grasp the situation, spoke with a look of awe. In the history of our Uchiha clan, only Madara Uchiha managed to evolve his Mangekyo Sharingan into the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. The eternal Mangekyo Sharingan has virtually no side effects. It seems Lord Uchiha Itachi is using the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan's Genjutsu to control the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails Jinchuriki. Fugaku's voice dripped with envy, having experienced the Mangekyo Sharingan himself, he knew how devastating its side effects were. He could only envy, resent, and loathe the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Upon hearing this, Kakashi, Might Guy, Hinata, Shikaku, and the others suddenly understood. No wonder the Jinchuriki had lost control. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails Jinchuriki were already locked in combat with Ai, Inoki, Raza, and Motoshi, their roars echoing across the land. Bang, after a brutal clash, shrouded in his lightning release chakra mode, was sent flying by a tailed beast bomb, crashing into the ground dozens of meters away. Across the way, Inoki unleashed an astounding amount of chakra, his hands moving rapidly through seals, forming a transforming translucent barrier that he hurled forward. Dust release, detachment of the primitive world technique. Boom, a thunderous blast rang out as the translucent barrier collided with the tailed beast bomb, releasing a terrifying energy impact. Bang, buffeted by the energy shockwave, Inoki was knocked back hundreds of meters. He glared, blue-faced, at Han, now in his complete tailed beast transformation, spotting the faint flicker of a Sharingan symbol in his eyes. At this point, anyone would understand what was happening. The Kaleidoscope Sharingan. He hadn't expected Uchiha Itachi to have unlocked the Kaleidoscope Sharingan. Against the power of the Kaleidoscope Sharingan, even the 9 tails Jinchuriki would be utterly useless. Nothing more than a puppet to be controlled by its illusions, hopeless, a familiar feeling washed over Inoki, reminiscent of facing Madara Uchiha in the past, utterly dominated, with not the slightest hope of victory. P.S. Please leave a like, add to the collection, and leave a review. It really helps. Chapter 93. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Roar. While Inoki was still reeling, Han, fully transformed into the 5 tails, unleashed a massive wave of tailed beast chakra and charged at him. What the? Inoki felt like he was losing it, but Han was completely under Itachi's Sharingan Genjutsu. Inoki had to grit his teeth and try his best to contain the rampaging tailed beast. Yakura, you're getting controlled again, whoosh, Yuan dodged the 3 tails attack at the last second, feeling frustrated and speechless. This guy Yakura, keeps saying he wants to redeem himself, but the moment he goes full-tailed beast, Uchiha Itachi has him under his thumb, his willpower is total garbage, Tailed beast bomb, Yakura, still fully transformed, unleashed an attack on Yuan. Seriously? Facing the tailed beast bomb, Yuan barely managed to avoid it. He was getting too old for this. He couldn't possibly beat the 3 tails as it was. He could only stall for time, hoping someone would snap Yakura out of it. Deep down, Yuan was regretting everything. Would being the Mizukage back in the Hidden Mist village have been so bad? If he died here, the young Terumi wouldn't stand a chance against the internal power struggles in the village. Raza, what are you waiting for? Thinking this, Yuan yelled at Raza, who was standing on the sidelines, get in the fight, now. I'm waiting for the right moment. Raza replied with a serious face after a moment's thought, whoosh, before the words were even out of his mouth, Raza suddenly turned and bolted. That's right, he was running away. Raza, what are you doing? Yuan shouted, dodging another attack from the 3 tails. We're a 4-nation alliance. I'm not stupid, Raza muttered as he ran. That Uchiha is way too strong. Better to cut our losses. A flicker of fear crossed his eyes as he ran. This Uchiha Itachi was terrifying, his overwhelming power. Whether it was the force of his bloodline limit, or the Sharingan, just thinking about it made his skin crawl. Of course, the memory of those 2,000+ sand ninja wiped out haunted him. Raza's heart was bleeding, the hidden sand village was already struggling. He'd hoped to take a bite out of the Leaf Village, but instead, he'd made things even worse for his already weakened village. Where do you think you're going? A casual voice cut through the air. Uchiha Itachi appeared right in front of Raza, a smile playing on his lips. Originally, against the 4-nation alliance, he'd planned to go all out, but then he saw 3 of the Jinchuriki transform into their tailed beasts right in front of him, and he changed his mind. After all, what was easier than handling a tailed beast with the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan? Hence the current standoff. Uchiha Itachi, Raza's face paled. Before he could speak, Itachi's Sharingan eyes locked on him. Gold dust impaling needles. Raza made hand seals and created a cube of gold dust, launching it toward Uchiha Itachi. Skyquake, Itachi clenched his right fist, coating it with a fluorescent white halo and armament hockey. He unleashed a devastating punch, crack. Crack, the air cracked as the gold dust cube collided with the concussive force. An ear-splitting roar shook the ground as the cube shattered into countless glittering particles. Magnet release, gold dust storm. Seeing this, Raza tried to use another ninjutsu, but a long-handled sword pierced through his body from behind, and blood gushed out, staining his clothes. You're too predictable. That was just a shadow clone. Itachi expressionlessly pulled the sword from Raza's body, poof, the Itachi in front of him turned into smoke and vanished. Sensing his life force draining away, Raza clutched at his bleeding wound, tried to speak, but only coughed up blood. He collapsed to the ground, from beginning to end. He hadn't imagined he'd die like this. What Raza didn't know was that even if he'd survived this, he would have still met his end at Orochimaru's hands. The 4th Kazekage is dead. Yuan, Inoki, and I, tangled with the tailed beasts, were shocked. They hadn't expected Uchiha Itachi to kill so ruthlessly, showing no mercy at all. After all, Raza was the 4th Kazekage. Capturing him alive could have been useful. You need to get out of here. I'll keep 8 tails contained for now. Bang. A scream of pain suddenly rang out. Gyuki, the 8 tails, froze in place. Killer Bee was fighting Gyuki for control of their shared body. Third Tsuchikage-sama, you need to leave. Elder Yuan, get out of here. Influenced by the 8 tails turmoil, the bodies of both Han and Yakura suddenly stopped moving. Let's go. We'll split up so we don't all get caught. That Uchiha is insane. He'll kill you without even batting an eye. Inoki, and Yuan knew the gravity of the situation. They glanced at each other and fled in 3 different directions, taking advantage of the moment when the 8 tails, 3 tails, and 5 tails were temporarily frozen. Whoosh. Whoosh. Whoosh, before the stunned eyes of countless Konoha ninjas, Inoki, and Yuan, without any regard, were hauling ass separately like stray dogs. Trying to run, Itachi, sensing their movements with his haki, chased after Yuan. Seriously? Seeing Itachi coming after him, Yuan turned ashen. He cursed himself. He was just a village elder in the hidden mist. Why couldn't Itachi have chased after the 4th Raikage, or the 3rd Tsuchikage, Inoki? After a single minute, he was efficiently killed by Uchiha Itachi. Chapter 94. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Swish. After taking out Yuanshi, Uchiha flashed back to the battlefield. Did they run? Uchiha frowned, sensing that the 3rd Tsuchikage, Inoki, and the 4th Raikage, had bolted. He couldn't believe Inoki and I were so shameless, ditching their own guys. They just ran without a second thought, abandoning the 5 tails and 8 tails Jinchuriki without hesitation, adding in the 3 tails. Konoha would snag 3-tailed beasts in this war without breaking a sweat. Plus the 9 tails, they'd have 4 tailed beasts in one village. I'll let you 2 slide for now. Uchiha figured the other villages were basically delivering freebies to Konoha, so he didn't bother chasing Inoki and I. The village's strength had already taken a nosedive after he took care of the Hokage and his cronies. Now, with the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails, Konoha was back in the game, maybe even stronger than before. Of course, his priority was getting those tailed beasts on his side. As for their hosts, oh well. Kurabi, Han, and Yakura weren't from Konoha anyway. He couldn't expect them to play nice. They ran. We won. Uchiha took out the entire allied force. Am I dreaming? Watching the tables turn, the Konoha ninjas exploded with excitement, some even tearing up. It hadn't been easy. Facing the combined might of the four villages was scary, no lie. But it looked like Konoha wasn't going down. Uchiha was their eternal savior. Phew, we won. Uchiha Fugaku, Hinata Hayashi, Nara Shikaku, and the other clan leaders exchanged glances, visibly relieved. They knew Konoha was about to skyrocket. You moron, wake up you tails, you jerk. After covering Ice escape, Kurabi started fighting for control of his body, vowing to make Konoha pay, whoosh, star, but then, a weird wave of I power washed over the area, the 8 tails, 5 tails, and 3 tails faded from sight. Kurabi, that eye has me locked down. Damn. Those eyes again. Let's waste him together. The instant they broke free of the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan's control, the 8 tails, 5 tails, and 3 tails were livid. As legendary tailed beasts, they had pride. Getting punked like that was humiliating. Affected by their rage, their chakra began to surge. They roared and charged Uchiha, bang. Bang, star, the ground shook as the tailed beasts unleashed their full power. The sight made countless Konoha ninjas' skin crawl. Just trying to persuade you. Facing the 3-tailed beasts head-on, Uchiha looked calm. He dropped out of eternal Mangekyo mode, clenched his fist, and met them, bang, star. Seconds later, Uchiha was going toe-to-toe with the beasts. Compared to their massive size, Uchiha was tiny. But when he punched, the air cracked, and the shockwave sent the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails flying, and that was just the beginning. Rumble. Rumble. Rumble, star. Uchiha's fist pounded the tailed beasts, beating them senseless. Every time they tried to launch a tailed beast bomb, Uchiha's fist would blow it to smithereens. The battlefield was a maelstrom of energy, and the already wrecked landscape was getting hammered even harder. Seeing Uchiha take on 3-tailed beasts, the Konoha ninjas were beyond shocked. They were numb. What a beast. Madogai watched the brawl, his eyes burning with excitement. He'd train even harder after this. Time to add another 3,000 push-ups to his evening routine. 1 minute, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour later, the tailed beasts were flat on the ground, too scared to even whimper. The rage in their eyes was gone, replaced with something else. Even with Yakura, Han, and Kurabi screaming at them to get up, they didn't budge. How is that possible? Did he scare the tailed beasts? Aren't they immortal? We're done for. Kurabi, Han, and Yakura collapsed, unable to figure out what was happening. They came to bring the hurt to Konoha. How did they end up giving them a freebie? The tailed beasts weren't listening to them anymore. What Kurabi, Han, and Yakura didn't know was, the tailed beasts were straight up terrified. Alright, that's that. Uchiha glanced at the Jinchuriki and shook his head. He'd used his Haki and Devil Fruit powers to beat the fear of God into those beasts. The 8 tails, 5 tails, and 3 tails had surrendered. When he had time, he'd ripped them out of the Jinchuriki. Meanwhile, deep inside Mount Mayaboku, within a temple, whoosh. Starred at a terrifying surge of chakra erupted. The first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, the second Hokage, Tobarama Senju, and the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, rose from their coffins. Phew! The great toad sage, wearing a doctor's cap, cut off the chakra. It had worked. Using the corpses of 3 dying toads, he'd pulled off the impure world reincarnation. As the toad transformed, Hashirama didn't seem to register what was happening. He looked around, then focused on the great toad sage. Great toad sage, did you bring me back with impure world reincarnation? Hashirama asked, confused. Konoha is in trouble. The great toad sage looked troubled. Everything has changed in Konoha. The 4 great ninja villages are attacking. It could be the end. What, is Konoha dead? The first Hokage's mind exploded. P.S. Tips and collections are very appreciated. Thank you. Chapter 95. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? Konoha's gone to hell. The first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, felt a roar in his head. That was the only thought rattling around up there. How could this be happening? He knew the solid foundation he'd built for Konoha, that's why even as he died, he felt at peace about the village's future, but this? Waking up resurrected from the dirt, the first thing he hears is that Konoha's surrounded by the 4 major ninja villages, about to be wiped off the map. It was a major slap in the face. Hiruzen, you son of a bitch, what the hell's going on here? Next to him, the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju, climbed out of his coffin, shot a glance at the third Hokage, who was still completely out of it, frowned, and said with a heavy dose of annoyance, when I handed over the Hokage title to you, didn't I tell you to protect Konoha at all costs? Hearing that, Hiruzen's face tightened. He started to say something, but nothing came out. What could he say? Being brought back to life by the great Toad Sage's impure world reincarnation jutsu, caught him off guard, sure, but the sight of both the first and second Hokages resurrected alongside him made him feel a little faint. After all, he'd pretty much driven the Senju clan into extinction. On the surface, only Tsunade remained as their last hope. He couldn't imagine facing Hashirama and Tobirama's questions. He wouldn't know where to begin. Not only that, he deliberately twisted the will of fire, defining the ordinary ninjas of this era as leaves, while the Konoha village's higher-ups were the trunk and roots of the tree. The leaves rot to nourish the roots, making the trunk stronger. This was the reason he insisted on sending fresh Ninja Academy graduates to the battlefield. Now it looked like the whole charade was about to fall apart. As for why Konoha was being besieged by the 4 major ninja villages, he had a pretty good idea. He could even guess why they'd been brought back using impure world reincarnation. He glared at Uchiha Ryunin in his mind. Everything was Ryunin's fault. If the Uchiha clan had just been obediently wiped out, wouldn't everything be fine? The 4 great ninja villages wouldn't be attacking Konoha right now. Great Toad Sage, what happened? Seeing that Hiruzen was silent, the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, kept his eyes on the Great Toad Sage and asked with a grim expression. Let's get to it. The Great Toad Sage shook his head, closed his eyes, and said in a low voice, Fukasaku, bring Jiraiya in here. Clang! The sound of a door sliding open filled the room. With a solemn expression, Fukasaku walked in. Old man. The moment he stepped inside, Jiraiya scanned the room and saw the impure world reincarnation version of Hiruzen. He said with excitement, I finally got you back. What a miserable way to go. Hiruzen nodded through gritted teeth, smiling on the outside, but on the inside, he was cursing up a storm. He wanted to snap at Jiraiya. If you had to bring me back with that jutsu, why did you have to bring back the first and second Hokages, too? Everyone else has a deadbeat dad. You're a deadbeat student. First Hokage-sama, second Hokage-sama. Jiraiya paused for a moment before bowing slightly towards Hashirama and Tobirama. He said respectfully, I pay my respects. Your name is Jiraiya. Hashirama was obviously not in a good mood. He said flatly, tell me everything that's happened in the ninja world these past years. And be thorough. Tobirama glanced thoughtfully at Hiruzen and added, especially regarding Konoha's development over the years. This. Before the words had even left his mouth, Jiraiya seemed hesitant. He was well aware of some of Hiruzen's choices. That was why he would always leave Konoha at the drop of a hat, out of sight, out of mind. Hurry up. I want to know the truth about why the 4 great ninja villages are laying siege to Konoha. Hashirama's face darkened. He said in a deep voice, you had the Great Toad Sage bring us back to life with that jutsu. It must be for Konoha's sake, right? Alright, fine. Hearing the words Konoha, then thinking about the immense danger Konoha was facing, Jiraiya gritted his teeth. He had to apologize to Hiruzen in his heart. He took a deep breath and said, First Hokage-sama and second Hokage-sama, I'll start with the second Shinobi World War. I'm cooked. Seeing Jiraiya start to spill the beans, Hiruzen couldn't help but tremble. He felt like he was about to be sick. he knew that after the first and second Hokages heard everything, his glorious image as the third Hokage was about to hit rock bottom. Who knew, maybe the first and second Hokages wouldn't be able to help themselves from beating him senseless. So the only sound in the room was Jiraiya's voice. At first, the first and second Hokage's expressions didn't change, but, when Jiraiya mentioned the bizarre death of Nawaki Senju, the death of Konoha's hero Tsukumo Hatake, White Fan, the Nine-Tailed Fox Rebellion, the death of the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, the death of Hisashi Hyuga, and Konoha's higher-ups wanting to exterminate the Uchiha clan. Before Ryunin Uchiha wiped them out, the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, and the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju's pupils suddenly shrank. A look of shock spread across their faces. The next moment, Hashirama asked with a cold face, "You said Ryunin Uchiha single-handedly wiped out Konoha's higher-ups?" "Yes," Jiraiya nodded firmly. "What about the Senju?" The next moment, as if something had occurred to him, Hashirama suddenly felt a shiver run down his spine. He asked again. "This?" Jiraiya went silent. The Senju clan must have disappeared from Konoha, right? With their intelligence, the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, and the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju, were quick to guess what had happened to the Senju clan. "There's also Tsunade," Jiraiya added with an embarrassed look. "Hiruzen, you've really outdone yourself." Airplanes. In the next moment, a wave of powerful chakra surged forward, smack. Before Hiruzen could react, the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju's body flashed. He slapped Hiruzen across the cheek, the force sending him stumbling backwards. Chapter 97. You are listening at novelfull.audio. First Hokage, I, too, desire peace and stability for the Leaf Village. Suddenly slapped, Sarutobi felt no pain due to being resurrected via impure world reincarnation. He could only grit his teeth and weakly retort, "As Hokage, everything I do is for the Leaf." Of course, Sarutobi hadn't fully voiced his thoughts. It's just that after your death, the power of the Senju clan became too strong. If I didn't suppress them, how could I maintain my authority and rule as Hokage? Humph. The first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, scoffed. "You know your true motives." Annoyance colored Hashirama's tone. "Who are you choosing? You should understand the will of fire better than anyone. Look at the mess you've made of the Leaf. Sarutobi, Danzo, Mito, and Koharu, quite the crew." The second Hokage, Tobirama Senju, shook his head, embarrassed. He couldn't argue. Sarutobi, Danzo, Koharu, and Mito were all his picks. His prejudice against the Uchiha clan also influenced their decisions. In a way, Sarutobi and the others took the will of fire to the extreme, and he bore some responsibility. Tobirama hadn't anticipated that Sarutobi and his group would be so ruthless, even suppressing and nearly wiping out the Senju clan, but it was done. They were all dead now. There was no point in dwelling on it. Time couldn't be reversed, and nothing could change the fact that the Senju clan was nearly extinct and the Leaf Village was under siege by the four great ninja villages. First Hokage, second Hokage, Jiraiya said with a wry smile, "The Leaf is currently besieged by the four great ninja villages." He continued, "Blaming Sarutobi-sensei is pointless now. Let's focus on solving the Leaf's problems." The Leaf Village was founded through the alliance of the Senju and Uchiha clans. Hearing this, Hashirama took a deep breath and stated, "Therefore, in a sense, it's understandable for the Uchiha clan to be on top. Big brother, the Uchiha clan is too extreme." Worried, Tobirama interjected coldly, "If this Uchiha reunion becomes another Madara Uchiha, the Leaf Village will be in grave danger. After we resolve the siege by the four great ninja villages, we'll test this Uchiha reunion." Hashirama said decisively. "I don't think you need to bother." Suddenly, the great Toad Sage, who had been silent, opened his eyes. Shima just sent word. In a world-shaking battle, the Leaf Village won. Uchiha Reunion single-handedly annihilated the ninja alliance of the 4 great ninja villages, capturing the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails Jinchuriki. Only the 3rd Hokage, Inoki, and the 4th Hokage, I, escaped. Silence descended on the temple. They won against the 4 ninja villages. And one big, Jiraiya's face froze, Sarutobi's cheeks showed horror, even Hashirama and Tobirama were shocked, clearly not expecting Uchiha Reunion to turn the tide against the siege of the 4 great ninja villages. Great Toad Sage, this can't be true, right? After a few seconds, Jiraiya asked in disbelief, how strong is this Uchiha Reunion to defeat the 4 ninja alliances alone? I can't see through Uchiha Reunion. The Great Toad Sage said slowly, surprised. The Leaf's crisis is averted. You can either have me release the impure world reincarnation or choose to go to the Leaf Village. Let's go to the Leaf and see what's up. Hearing that the Leaf was safe, Hashirama's mood lightened. A new god of the ninja world has emerged, and I have to take a look. The Uchiha clan's god of the ninja world. Tobirama frowned. I'll go to the Leaf with my brother. I'm going too. Sarutobi hesitated for a moment before speaking coldly. Old man, you don't need to go. Jiraiya spoke hesitantly, trying to dissuade him. Why? Sarutobi's expression darkened. The Uchiha clan killed the Leaf's leadership. I can't let that go. This. Jiraiya stumbled, unsure how to explain that the major clans of the Leaf had jointly issued a list of Sarutobi's 10 deadly sins, and that he was now a pariah in the village. He could only imagine the scene of countless civilians and ninja yelling and cursing at Sarutobi if he appeared in the Leaf Village. I have to go, Sarutobi said firmly, since he was already dead, he wasn't afraid of being killed by Uchiha Reunion again. He wanted to see what the 1st and 2nd Hokage intended to do. Okay, Jiraiya smiled wryly, ultimately deciding against telling Sarutobi the truth. That settles it. Hashirama took a deep breath, curiosity shining in his eyes. Get ready. Let's go to the Leaf Village and meet this Uchiha clan's ninja god. Meanwhile, news of Uchiha Reunion's annihilation of the 4 great ninja alliances, the capture of the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails Jinchuriki, and the death of the 4th Kazekage, Raza, and the Mist Village Master spread throughout the ninja world in less than half a day. If Uchiha Reunion's slaughter of the Leaf's leadership, led by Sarutobi, was merely a prelude that shocked countless ninja in villages big and small. This time, Uchiha Reunion's actions proved that he had reached the pinnacle of the ninja world. This was the 4 ninja alliances. The 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails Jinchuriki, the 4th Hokage, I, the Mist Village Elder, Yuan Shi, the 4th Kazekage, Raza, and the 3rd Hokage, Inoki, all renowned figures in the ninja world. The result. They were nearly wiped out by Uchiha Reunion, a rising star who seemingly appeared from nowhere. And he even took the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails Jinchuriki as prizes, strengthening the Leaf Village's hand in this new world. Instantly, countless people were shocked, and so, Sand Village, Stone Village, Mist Village, and Cloud Village announced their surrender to the Leaf Village and admitted defeat. Among them, with the death of the 4th Kazekage, Raza, Chiyo was forced out of retirement. In the Mist Village, Terumi Mei rose to become the 5th Mizukage. Inevitably, Uchiha Reunion gained another title in the ninja world, the apex of the ninja world, comparable to the legendary ninja Hashirama Senju. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Land of Rain, atop the tallest tower in Yuin Village. The allied shinobi forces, they've been wiped out. A woman in a black trench coat embroidered with red clouds, her hair a pale lavender and eyes a light orange, delivered the unbelievable news. Airplanes. Hearing this, a terrifying surge of power rippled from his pupils. Pain, through his deva path, snapped open his purple Rinnegan eyes and scoffed, defeated? A bunch of good-for-nothings. Exactly. Conan glanced at the intelligence scroll in her hand, her voice icy. They've captured the 3 tails, 5 tails, and 8 tails Jinchuriki. Adding to the 9 tails, Konoha now controls 4-tailed beasts. Four-tailed beasts. Pain's expression hardened, as if struck by a sudden thought. He asked, his voice low, how much have we learned about Uchiha Ryunin? His background is surprisingly sparse, Konan replied, shaking her head. Before Konoha's leaders initiated the purge, he practically never left the village. He kept an extremely low profile. We haven't been able to dig up anything useful at all. Is that so? Pain fell silent. What's the plan? Seeing his silence, Konan hesitated, then pressed. Wait a little longer. The time isn't right yet. Pain stated flatly, but when it is, I'll use the Rinnegan to crush even the so-called god of the shinobi world, and make Konoha feel true pain. Understood. Konan nodded curtly, meanwhile, deep inside a dark, frigid cave. What's the situation? Obito, masked, asked with a grim expression. How has Uchiha Ryunin grown so powerful in the past year? We don't know. The fused being of black and white Zetsu frowned. White Zetsu spoke, a hint of fear in his voice. Uchiha Ryunin possesses an incredibly bizarre power, terrifying beyond belief. The allied shinobi forces didn't stand a chance. Forget about him. We continue with our plan in secret. Black Zetsu hesitated, then said coldly, as long as we succeed and obtain ultimate power, we can subdue Uchiha Ryunin, even if he is the shinobi god. Right. The masked Obito nodded, his face unreadable, but a closer look revealed an astonishing coldness burning in his Sharingan eyes. Ever since being humiliated and defeated by Uchiha Ryunin on the night of the massacre, Obito's envy and resentment had reached a fever pitch. After all, he had embraced the darkness, inherited everything from Madara Uchiha, and still been crushed. Obito couldn't accept it, therefore, he could only grit his teeth and press on with the original plan, one step at a time. Desperately hoping for the day he could finally bring down Uchiha Ryunin, in the shinobi world. At Kumogakure. In the Raikage office. Damn it! What are we going to do? Bang, the fourth Raikage, who had barely escaped back to Kumogakure, slammed his fist on the desk, his face contorted in anguish. He knew full well that if Killer Bee was separated from the Eight Tails, he would die, but, faced with the current might of Konoha, faced with the god of the shinobi world, Uchiha Ryunin, he was powerless, and could only roar in impotent rage within his office. Lord Fourth Raikage. Mabui entered, her face grim. Well, seeing her, a flicker of hope sparked in A's eyes. Konoha refused. They will not agree to release Lord Killer Bee. Mabui reported, her voice heavy. According to the latest intelligence, Lord Killer Bee is dead. Uchiha Ryunin extracted the Eight Tails. What? Crash, a loud crash echoed. They seemed to have lost all strength. His massive body gave way, and he collapsed to the floor, overwhelmed by grief. Dead? Killer Bee was dead. A wave of despair washed over him, he couldn't understand it. Back when the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, was in power, negotiations were easy. They were often externally weak, but internally fierce. But now, this new Konoha was ruthless in everything it did. Alas! Seeing the scene, Mabui could only sigh. What else could be said? Faced with the now ascendant god of the shinobi world, what option did they have but to concede? The thought of having to pay exorbitant war reparations only compounded her headache. The shinobi world was reeling, every major power was terrified by Uchiha Ryunin's terrifying strength. Meanwhile, as the victor, Konoha, having weathered the storm of war, was now thriving, its people displaying unprecedented unity and momentum. Perhaps the most regretful were the civilians and ninja who had abandoned Konoha before the war. They had been convinced that Konoha would fall to the allied shinobi forces, but they were wrong. Now, all that was left was envy, resentment, and hate. Meanwhile, to allay the fears of Konoha's citizens and ninjas regarding the tailed beasts, Uchiha Ryunin, after extracting the 3 tails, 8 tails, and 5 tails from Yagura, Killer Bee, and Han, he placed them on the east, west, and north sides of Konoha. At first, Konoha's ninjas and civilians were terrified, however, after realizing that the tailed beasts not only didn't attack, but also protected the village. They gradually adapted after their initial fear. people sometimes went to see the legendary 3 Tails, 8 Tails, and 5 Tails. Of course, during this time, the major clans of Konoha also worked together to abolish the Third Hokage's heavily promoted will of fire indoctrination and replaced it with new literature, among which was a story that had to be told by the first Hokage and the Uchiha Dancing King, and it firmly occupied the top spot in the sales charts, The Tale of Hashirama Senju and Madara. Uchiha's love-hate relationship spread like wildfire throughout Konoha. Do you want to dance? Tailed beasts can kill people. I'd call you the strongest, if I let you have 2 hands. Anyway, I still have 998 hands. This kind of boastful, over-the-top trash talk became popular in Konoha. P.S. Please support with tips, collections, flowers, and reviews. Thank you. Chapter 99. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha Village, Hokage Building. Top floor conference room, Uchiha Ryuan, Hinata, Akimichi Choza, Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi, Aburame Shibi, Kakashi, Might Guy, and others were seated. Iwa, Suna, Kyumo, and Kiri have all surrendered, giving us a ton of resources and land in compensation. Nara Shikaku, looking at a scroll with a hint of excitement, continued, Konoha is now officially the undisputed #1 ninja village in the world. Uchiha Fugaku added with satisfaction, thanks to the 3 Tails, 5 Tails, and 8 Tails, Konoha's crime rate has plummeted, almost to 0. ANBU's been reorganized, Kakashi said. Might Guy, with a burst of energy, declared, I'm practically running the Ninja Academy as a hot-blooded principal. I'll make sure these students train hard every single day. Yeah. Uchiha Ryuan leaned back in his chair, an indifferent smile on his face. The will of fire is done. Konoha isn't some pyramid scheme, we don't need brainwashing. The clans are free to develop as they see fit. Ultimately, strength is all that matters. Agreed. Everyone in the room nodded. They understood the game. Right. Uchiha Fugaku took a deep breath. Lord Uchiha Ryuan, a clan can't be without a head for too long, and neither can a village be without a Hokage. It's time for Konoha to elect a new leader. Absolutely. Hinata jumped in, I nominate Uchiha Ryuan for 5th Hokage. Me too. Agreed. No one in Konoha is more qualified than Lord Uchiha Ryuan. I also recommend Uchiha Ryuan-sama. The room erupted with similar sentiments, all echoing the same thing. Uchiha Ryuan was the only choice for 5th Hokage. Alright. Uchiha Ryuan nodded, seemingly unfazed. What else could he say? He wasn't particularly interested in being Hokage, but Konoha and he were now inextricably linked. Guess I'll play Hokage then, against my better judgment. With Uchiha Ryuan's acceptance, things moved quickly. The group started discussing the succession ceremony, when to hold it, who to invite, and what beneficial policies to enact. Later that evening, after the meeting, **whoosh, Uchiha Ryuan appeared in the dilapidated Senju clan lands. Man, for Konoha's former leading clan, this place is a dump. Standing in a long-abandoned courtyard, he surveyed the dilapidated buildings. He could almost picture the Senju clan's former glory, once rivaling the Uchiha, now almost wiped out thanks to Hiruzen Sarutobi's schemes. System, sign in at the Senju clan lands. A few seconds later, Uchiha Ryuan commanded silently, 1 second, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, finally, after a full minute, the system chimed. Ding! Congratulations, the system has refreshed the check-in location, successfully checked in at the Senju clan lands. Ding! Congratulations! Host received, super strength, summoning, 5-fold Rashomon, and would release healing jutsu. Ding! Reward has been stored in the system space. Host can view it at any time, and can use once the fusion is accepted. Could be worse, Uchiha Ryuan said, shaking his head with slight disappointment. He'd hoped to get Sage Mode from the Senju clan lands, but instead got super strength, summoning, 5-fold Rashomon, and would release healing jutsu. Super strength was a ninjutsu, summoning, 5-fold Rashomon was a defensive ninjutsu, would release healing jutsu, which automatically healed injuries without hand seals, was the only thing that caught his interest. Madara Uchiha once said, "On the battlefield, no one can kill Hashirama." "Alright, time to come out." Uchiha Ryuen's lips curved into a smile. "Tsunade, one of the legendary Sannin, still hiding. How did you know I was here?" From a dark corner. Tsunade emerged, her face a mix of emotions. Learning of Sarutobi's death had initially enraged her, but returning to Konoha, to the shattered remains of the Senju clan lands, had given her pause. She was starting to think that the Uchiha had a point, and that Sarutobi might have deserved it. If the Uchiha hadn't fought back, they might have ended up like the Senju, erased from history. Chapter 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You're here in Konoha. I knew it. Uchiha Itachi smiled knowingly at Tsunade. Oh, really? Tsunade's eyes narrowed, and she stepped closer, her voice sharp. Aren't you worried I'll come after you? You did kill the third Hokage, my teacher, Sarutobi. Not really. Uchiha Itachi shrugged, unconcerned. You can't beat me anyway. You. Tsunade's face tightened, and her teeth clenched. He was right. Facing Uchiha Itachi, now at the top of the ninja world, she stood no chance. Hadn't she seen how the four great ninja alliances fell? If you want revenge for the third Hokage, anytime, Uchiha Itachi said, his eyes hardening. If I had to, I'd still take out that political machine Sarutobi ran. They were rotten. They deserved it. Tsunade bit back a response, silent for a moment. Revenge. She wasn't sure she had a reason anymore, especially when she thought about the Senju clan ninjas who died mysteriously. Some vanished without a trace. Even her grandfather, the first Hokage, had his body dissected by Konoha's higher-ups after his death, and she, a legendary Sannin, was still an outsider. She had no reason to seek revenge. Besides, she hadn't had a choice before. Now, the Uchiha clan had made the choice for her. Tomorrow, I'm holding the Hokage inauguration ceremony. I want you to represent the Senju clan. Uchiha Itachi watched Tsunade, his eyes steady, and took a breath, his tone serious. This is Konoha, the village our Uchiha and Senju clans built together. I don't want to see the Senju clan fade away. With a whoosh, Uchiha Itachi vanished from the Senju clan lands. He'd only stopped by to do a daily clan land sign-in, and meeting Tsunade, one of the legendary Sannin, was just a coincidence. He'd said what needed to be said and left. Can the Senju clan rise again? Long after Uchiha had gone, Tsunade stared at the dilapidated Senju clan lands, her expression conflicted. Lady Tsunade, will we go? Shizune, who had been waiting in the shadows, saw Tsunade was motionless. She approached cautiously and asked, Uchiha is becoming the fifth Hokage. The village's fate is sealed. We'll go. Tsunade's eyes flashed with determination. My luck with gambling has always been terrible, but, since those Konoha elders died, my luck has changed. Now I want to see if my luck with life has too. Shizune nodded silently. She knew how insane Lady Tsunade's gambling luck was these days. She was practically guaranteed to win every bet. She was a gambling god. Then, Konoha village issued a statement that shook the entire village like a lightning strike. The daimyo had unconditionally approved the ninja world's god, Uchiha Itachi, to hold the Hokage inauguration ceremony today. Konoha was buzzing. Uchiha Ryuen was like a god in Konoha, unlike the third Hokage, Sarutobi, who preached about the will of fire and claimed to be the strongest Hokage ever. Uchiha had never been fake. He'd risen to the top through sheer power, even if his methods were brutal. But, the ending was undeniable. The civilians and ninjas of Konoha worshipped and adored Uchiha Ryuen, at the Hokage building, inside the newly renovated Hokage's office. Wow! He's so handsome, right? Yeah, Lord Leonien looks amazing in the Hokage robes. Totally. Uchiha Itachi checked himself in the mirror, pleased. His years of training, combined with the immortal body, had made his looks and presence perfect. Plus, his already handsome features, irresistible. Maybe apart from the part about not being as handsome as many readers, he was perfect. Lord Leonien, the ceremony's about to start. Soon, Kurenai Yuhi, fighting to remain composed, cleared her throat and gave a smile. Alright, Uchiha stretched and said, let's do this. A while later, when Uchiha Reunion, wearing the Hokage robes, appeared in the plaza directly in front of the Hokage building. Lord Uchiha Reunion. Hahaha, the fifth Hokage. Konoha is entering a new era. Hokage. Hokage, the plaza exploded, the ninjas and civilians, watching Uchiha Reunion walk onto the stage, erupted in excited shouts. My dad was the fourth Hokage, and Lord Uchiha Reunion is the fifth Hokage. So, I've decided. I'm going to be the sixth Hokage. Finally, the Uchiha clan has a Hokage. Naruto, being a nine-tails Jinchuriki doesn't make you all that. I'm going to be Hokage too. In a corner of the plaza, Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, Hinata Hyuga, Sakura Haruno, Shikamaru Nara, and other kids watched Uchiha Reunion with admiration. Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha were bickering as usual, because of Uchiha's passing years. Uchiha Sasuke didn't experience the pain of his clan's massacre, and Naruto Uzumaki enjoyed the treatment that the nine-tails Jinchuriki deserved, and he knew that his father was the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, unseen. The life paths of both Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha had changed. Is this what it's like to be Hokage? After walking onto the stage, Uchiha Reunion saw the cheering ninjas and civilians and thought to himself, no wonder everyone wants to be Hokage. This feeling is addictive. Wait, this presence. Then, under the observation of Uchiha Reunion's observation haki, three presences rushed into Konoha at top speed. Here they come. Seconds later, Uchiha Reunion's eyes flashed. Before most people could react, three figures appeared on the stage with lightning speed and stood next to Uchiha Reunion. The crowd in the plaza was stunned. The three figures were the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju, and the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Chapter 101. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Right, that's the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju, and the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. At first, some people were skeptical. But after glancing at Hokage Rock in the distance and comparing the faces, their expressions froze. They just stood there, stunned, a tidal wave of disbelief washing over them. How is this possible? How did the first, second, and third generations appear? Aren't they all dead? Instantly, the square fell silent. Finally made it to the Hidden Leaf Village. Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage, looked around with excitement, muttering to himself, I've missed the good old days in Konoha so much. Konoha has sure changed. Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage, sighed. Is that Grandpa first and Grandpa second? Hearing their words and seeing those familiar faces, Tsunade was the first to react, her face a mask of disbelief. Huh? The first and second Hokage? Am I seeing things? Didn't Lord Hashirama and Lord Tobirama die? How are they back in Konoha? No way. This can't be happening. A wave of shocked murmurs broke out. People stared at Hashirama and Tobirama as if they were ghosts. No freaking way. The first and second Hokage, dead for years, suddenly materialized before their eyes. Anyone would be a little freaked out. Wait a minute. Then, a civilian, as if struck by an idea, shouted, wasn't that old dog Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, resurrected too? That evil third Hokage deserves to be dead. How can he be resurrected? That Sarutobi jerk can't even die right. He actually came back. God's got to be blind. The weakest Hokage in history, Hiruzen Sarutobi, actually has the nerve to show his face in Konoha. All talk outside, but a bully at home. How dare Sarutobi, who drove the shinobi into the ground, come back? That was the match that lit the fuse. Many civilians and ninjas, still reeling from the initial shock, snapped to attention and started cursing Hiruzen, practically foaming at the mouth, as if they wanted to tear him apart and drink his blood. Whoa! On the platform, the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, who had just appeared, watched as the smile on his face turned to ice. He had only followed the first and second Hokage back to the village to show off a little, and now he couldn't believe it. He'd only been dead for less than a year, and the whole village was already shouting him down, calling him evil and saying he shouldn't even be alive. If his body hadn't been reanimated with impure world reincarnation, Hiruzen probably would have coughed up blood from sheer anger. Even so, Hiruzen clenched his fists, livid with rage. Ever since he'd become Hokage, no one had ever dared to point fingers at him and yell like this, much less been subjected to a mass berating. Damn Uchiha Itachi! Then, just as Sarutobi was about to confront Uchiha Itachi, his reanimated chest suddenly shattered, dissolving into dust. Since it was impure world reincarnation, even with a gaping hole in his chest, it wasn't a major problem. The dust swirled, slowly reforming Sarutobi's body. Yep, it's impure world reincarnation, all right. Seeing the bloodless hole in Sarutobi's chest, Uchiha Itachi withdrew his fist and nodded thoughtfully. Truth be told, the sudden appearance of the first, second, and third Hokage seemed bogus to him. Since it was only the 56th year of the Hidden Leaf Village, how could someone use impure world reincarnation to bring back the first and second generations? Something didn't add up. Lord Hokage, it's the great Toad Sage who is behind this. Point two more sounds of rushing air echoed through the square. Jiraiya and Shima appeared. Jiraiya took a few steps forward, a little embarrassed, and explained, the four great ninja villages were jointly attacking Konoha, so I got a little worried. I asked the great Toad Sage to intervene. Uchiha Itachi gave Jiraiya a long look, then glanced at Shima, not bothering to call out Jiraiya's play. So that's how the three Kage were resurrected. The great Toad Sage was the culprit. You can't kill me, Sarutobi hissed, taking a deep breath. Uchiha Itachi, what did you do after I died? Uchiha shrugged, his voice soft. Nothing much. Just released all your dirty laundry. Hearing that, Hiruzen's face twitched involuntarily. He'd feared as much. The world was spinning, his reputation in Konoha was ruined forever. No wonder so many people were cursing him. Hiruzen, you should go now. Realizing that the first Hokage's expression was getting uglier due to the villagers berating the third, Shima gestured, indicating she could undo the impure world reincarnation on Sarutobi. Hold up. Uchiha Itachi raised a hand to stop Shima, a cold glint in his eyes. I didn't finish him off last time. I want to beat the old ape up some more. The next moment, before Sarutobi could even react, Uchiha Itachi clenched his fist and slammed it into Hiruzen's reanimated body. The force of the blow was so immense that Sarutobi's body exploded into dust again.